Good Saturday morning to you. I have a very busy day, so I have to come to you from my vehicle while I'm driving because I have to still pay my bills while I'm working on my dream. I wanted to share something with you. Yesterday's video. I I I told you how I had met someone a year ago. Well, interestingly enough, I met that person on a dating site called spiritualsingles.com. And last night, I got a message from someone on spiritualsingles.com. Now, I haven't been doing the online dating for, I don't know, probably a month now. I've kind of taken a break from it. But the interesting thing is spiritualsingles.com. I went on there over a year ago because I said, okay, I was trying to define what I was looking for. And I knew I wanted someone that was somewhat spiritual. So I Googled spiritual dating sites, and that was one of the top ones. Went on it. Well, there's very few people in the area. So when I met the girl last year, that was an interesting story because I got a message from someone from Australia or something. So while I was on there, I looked and I saw that this particular girl was local. So I sent her a message, and that was all part of our cute little story that we told in the beginning. But as you see, that didn't turn out so well. And that gave me a new realization about spirituality, what it means to me, what it means to someone else, and what I was looking for. Because her profile initially, I thought was the core of what I was looking for, but it just re-emphasized everything that I know. Just because somebody says they put a label on something, I might have a different definition for it. So I've come to the point where am I spiritual? Yes, I believe in spiritualness, but I wouldn't say I'm so much spiritual because my the way I envision someone that's spiritual is someone that's a lot deeper into spirituality than I am. But again, it's all in definition. Anyway, so this girl sends me a message, and it was funny because she said, "Are you as happy as your profile and your picture portrays?" I thought that was interesting. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm pretty much a happy person. And what's funny is the picture that I have up there is a picture with the girl that I met from spiritualsingles.com, but I've got her blacked out. Because this one only lets you I'm not upgraded or anything, so it's just a basic free profile. So I just thought it was interesting. And that leads me to the next thing, signs. We always say, I know I did for the longest time, and people still do. When something comes up, we say, oh, that must be a sign. So, I looked at this girl's profile, and some of the things she said, there's several red flags for me initially, some of the things she said. But again, I don't know what her definition of it. Like, for example, she says she's a feminist, but she feels that men are part of the movement. I don't, what is her definition of a feminist? I don't know what movement. For me, that's a red flag because I don't like labels. I'm not into movements or whatever. Yeah, and then there was a couple other things, but we think of things that feed what we want, right? So initially, I would be like, okay, I'm wanting to meet someone, I'm wanting to attract them, and here someone has sent me a message. So we tend to overlook red flags sometimes because we want something so bad, and when it shows up, we think it's a sign. But we have to remember that while we're attracting, so are they. We're all in this together. We're all attracting and just like drops of water in the ocean. We're all in this together. So something I learned, and I shared this not too long ago with the book, The Universe Has Your Back, where I think her name's Gabrielle. She describes she's looking for a house, and she asks her psychic friend, how does she know if this house is right for her? Because they were on a search and it wasn't working, and they were getting frustrated. So they refocused, and they were looking for a house in New York, and they ended up changing the scope of what they were looking for. And it seemed like the perfect place was like, well, how do I know? So she didn't take it just the fact that they found the house, that was a sign. So her psychic friend tells her, look for a sign. And she goes, what kind of sign? And she goes, well, for me, it's butterflies. She goes, you just have to pick something, put it out to the universe, to God, and then they'll send you that. Now, a lot of people think that, numbers in sequence mean something. See, to me, that's like, okay, that's an absolute. So that means those numbers mean that every time you see it. No, we're all different. It's all different from the observer, so it can't be the same. You know, ever since I've heard that, yes, I look down at the clock and I see 11:11, and I'm like, okay, so spirit's with me. What does that mean for me? But if you're looking for a sign, whether something's right or not, and in this instance, whether a mate or a person you're supposed to meet is right, then I guess while you're thinking about that at that moment, if you look down and see 11:11, sure. Or for example, the Gabrielle, she said she was going to pick an owl for a sign. But of course, then you're looking for owls, right? So you've never looked for owls, but all of a sudden you start looking for them, and you'll find them. So I'm a little on the fence about that, but if it works, I'm trust but verify. So I'm trying to do that in my own life, just to see. I'm the type trust but verify. I go with the flow. I've responded to this girl. Uh, she's local, and we'll just see where the conversation goes. I'm not against meeting someone new. I wouldn't mind sitting down and asking her, "What do you mean by a feminist?" Getting to know who she really is. I can't tell by a few words on a paper, and I probably can't tell by the first meeting because people act a little bit different the first time they meet. Their guards up or whatever, and it takes time to get to know someone. So I'm in no hurry. I'm not looking for an instant connection, but that also leads me to thinking, okay, once you're in a relationship, because I was in a relationship, and you ask yourself what's right and wrong, and if you do something. Now, I go by the rule of threes. If your partner tells you something three times, it's probably something important. And if you care about your partner, if it's something they want you to stop and it's not that big of a deal, you stop. Whether it's some of the small things like closing cabinet doors, closing drawers, putting the toilet seat down, or whatever. Instead of debating over it. And I guess there's times where you have to give in and they have to give in on certain things, depending on, how important it is to you. Because you don't want to be the one giving in all the time. But that, when you're in a relationship, that's where it requires open, honest communication, being vulnerable. And you have to put your feelings aside sometimes, because if someone's honest with you, what they say may sting a little bit, but you can't take it personally, because you're supposed to be growing together. You're supposed to be building this relationship together. My last relationship, she kept telling me how her and her exes, and I knew more about her exes than I did her family members. Well, me and so did things this way. Well, we did things this way. And I'm like, okay, great. You're not with them. You're with me. If there was a certain thing about that you liked, okay, share that with me, but leave the X out of it. Let's move forward. If that's something that you really want, then let's build that together. I don't have a problem with that. But to me, it was like living in the past. So my point there is, if If an ex is involved, like a father of the children, then fine, some discussion has to come up. But if you have exes, leave them. That's the past. Let it go. Let that shit go. I personally, it I was like, whatever. It made me feel distant. Sure, I didn't sit there and talk about, well, me and my ex did this or we did that, or like in the beginning there were some comparisons so we could try to come together. But yeah, try to leave the exes out of it, because you guys are a team. Your partner's a team, and you have to. It's just like I was saying with words. What something means to someone might mean something different to you. So you guys have to establish that and come to an understanding. Doesn't mean you have to agree, but you have to understand when your partner says something, what it means to them, because it might not mean the same thing to you. It's like going into a card game. If you play spades, people add different rules. There's different ways to play it. There's a basic fundamental way to play, but then some people add the jokers, and some people do this, do that. Well, if you don't know the rules that you're going into the game with, it's going to be more difficult, right? So with your partner, don't assume that they know. I've heard that before. Well, you should already know. You should already know to do that. Well, I don't. That's why I'm asking. Don't hold it against me, you know? And lovingly, you say, well, this is what I'd like, what I expect, and you appreciate that and try to reciprocate. So I spent a lot of time over the past few years thinking about this stuff. So I'm I'm ready to put it into practice. You guys have a great day. I love you. See you tomorrow.